Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we're talking about my comic, The Chaotic Adventures of the Banished Moon Witch. I want to reflect on the first volume, chapter. I'm not sure what to call it, but before all that, let me just say Happy New Year's, even though I'm pretty late. I've been working a lot, and have been feeling burnt out. Also, I'm not very good with talking, so I've been putting off this video for too long now. Although with that being said, I'm having a pretty good year so far. I've gotten a few New Year's resolutions involving my art and for this channel. Do you have any New Year's resolutions? Has it been going well? Let me know in the comments. So to start off this process, I want to start with chapter 1. There's not much going on. Its purpose is to establish the scene, right? So they have lost something and can't find it. So she's looking around, and when she lifts up the book on the table, she finds it. It was another book. One she needed for the purpose of opening up a portal. My feelings when I first started creating this page, I was pretty ecstatic. I feel like an eternity. It felt like an eternity to make, but it was being fueled by the anticipation of sticking to a comic and really creating a story with art to follow along with it. I didn't care if it was only one chapter. I wanted this to be a thing that I truly had put all my energy into. Now this page took me a few days, but completing all 7 pages took me like 3 months. Now we'll get more into that later. For now, let's just focus on this first page. Now when you're reading this comic, not just these 7, but also the future pages I plan on releasing, you're going to spot inconsistency. For example, the spellbook, it changed throughout, and I did this on purpose. This is my first comic, so I'm allowing myself some extra room for error and for change. If something changes, it's because I feel like it wasn't really good enough for my work. It could be better. I want it to feel like it's really complete. Now, of course, in future comics, I either won't do this, or I won't stick with inconsistency. I'll somehow find a way to morph it into my style if I could make that seem cool. Now, I think that's all I can think of for this page. For page 2, immediately you'll see what I was talking about. The lighting has changed quite dramatically at that. Again, I did that because I felt like it was necessary improvement. I had a lot of fun drawing this page. The environment was a lot of fun for me. Drawing the setting is a skill I'm not very good at, so honestly, drawing this comic has shown me a lot of improvement. If you watch the scenes on each page, I believe you'll just watch it improve again and again. It was really nice to watch. In fact, it was very reminiscent when I first started drawing, and with each piece, I watch it improve so quickly. It was a really nice feeling. Also, the rhyme, I made that myself because I feel like it'd be cheap if I just Googled it. Also, I'm pretty sure that's just straight plagiarism, so obviously that wouldn't be a good idea. I also just like making dumb rhymes, honestly. The lighting, well, I do believe it improved incredibly since page 1. There are a few mistakes. For instance, the shadows for the candles. I should have looked up a reference because I was struggling. If you have any tips on lighting and shadows or just art tips in general, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. For page 3, here is where I decided to switch it up a bit with the colors and the atmosphere. Now, some context, I really enjoy the early 2000s shows from Cartoon Network. The humor that just goes from light to really dark, plus the jokes that perfectly go right over our heads when we were kids. It's what makes me enjoy a comic or a cartoon. For example, The Misadventures of Flapjack and Captain Knuckles. Guess where I got the freaking title. I love how innocent Flapjack is in comparison to the world around him. While he's sweet and helpful and cheerful, wanting to go on silly little adventures, he and we get jump scared by the most horrific demon cat on the face of the planet, and that's not even the first time this happens. There's just something about it that I want to recreate with my own stories and my own style. Now, for the style, I like to do art shifts or style changes or whatever. I took inspiration from The Amazing World of Gumball and Panty and Stockings. I do this because I really want to highlight whatever is going on, whether it's to highlight a bit or to intensify the action and drama going on. It may also be to highlight lore if I choose to sprinkle some in, which I will. Now, for the characters on the sidelines, I'm not sure what to do with them. I have plans on making them reoccurring characters, but I don't really have any stories fleshed out for them at all. They don't even have names. If you like, you can always suggest one to me. I could do like a shout out or something if I like it. I don't know. For page 4, this is the fight scene. I don't really know how to choreograph a fight or even how I'd look that up on YouTube. I don't know. Also, pacing is a skill I'm trying to improve on. I feel like for my first real fight scene it works, but I want my future fight scenes to be more exciting. More explosions, more blows being landed, all that stuff. I feel like the punches didn't carry a lot of weight, so it looks like not much impact is being made, which makes the scene a lot weaker. I want to improve upon this so my next fight scenes will feel more dangerous. I want not just the characters, but you to feel like your life is at risk. I want you to feel like you're in the story. I also need to do less jumping around, or at least make a little bit more sense. Although I loved the frame where she's about to deliver the final blow just before she was interrupted, don't be surprised if this shows up again later on in the story with like an improved fight scene and whatnot. Of course, it's not all going to be the same. It's going to be within context of the story. So let's move on to page 5. Okay, so for this page, oh my god, I wanted to die. This page nearly killed me. I almost quit. This page was way too much. I did the simple error of putting too many panels. Now, if you watched as many of those best tips for creating comics type videos, which I've watched a lot, you'll know one of the most common tips is do not use too many panels. I failed. Not only did I use too many panels though, no, I also used very detailed scenes, which could have been, what could have been lost due to my ignorance. Well, I paid the price, I tell you. Now, if you don't know, as I just mentioned, one of the most common tips is to not use too many panels, which I did. And you might be thinking, why is this bad? And I'll tell you. You see, when you have so many panels, you might think, wow, so much story all on one page. I could really cut down the work I have to do now that I have at least 2 pages worth on this page. Well, you see, my friend, this is where you've already messed up. Because 1, you have to draw and fill in every single one of those panels. You have to fit details into those. Now, if you were listening, you know I said I made a second mistake. You see, the setting for this page was incredibly detailed and beautiful, but because the panels were too small, I had to cut down the sizes to fit them all onto the page, and I ended up losing the details. If I had more room, I could have fit more detail and created a really dramatic scene, but because I decided to cut corners, I ended up taking away from the scene, and to make matters worse, I also need to point out another way this error takes even more away from what's going on. You see, when your panels are too small, not only does the size take away from the scene, but also the dialogue. You're reading a comic with talking characters, so there needs to be bubbles with speech in the scene, or else you're not going to know what's going on. So it could have been an incredibly breathtaking scene, only ended up being muck on a page scrambled with text that the reader is going to immediately be overwhelmed with and skip to the next page. Heartbreaking. So I really want to learn from my mistake and do better. I want your breath to be taken away when I make lavish scenes such as that one. So on to page 6. At this point, suffering from burnout, but knowing I'm so close to being done, I had to persevere. After all that mess, there was only so much work left. I knew I couldn't stop. Now, I am absolutely so proud of this scene. I love the portal opening up in the middle of the library, and she's just stepping out. Now, the papers really helped create that chaotic feeling that I was going for, but I didn't really move them around much between each frame, which did take away from the chaos, but I feel like it's only a minor detail, but I will still try to fix that next time just to invoke those feelings more. I don't want it to be lessened by the art. I want the art to improve it. This page also introduces Luna. Now, if you're wondering why so much of my real life shows up in this comic, it's because my life also heavily inspires the story. I don't come from a good place, but I've worked really hard to get to where I am now, and I'm still working really hard to get where I need to be. So basically, this is my way of telling my life through my characters and my friends' characters. Of course, it's not going to be the exact same. Obviously, I'm not from the moon. I wanted to make it something where if you get to know me and you read my comic, then that's cool. But if you also just stumble upon it online, I want it to just be a fun little read. Think of it as me giving my online persona lore that reflects my own real life quote-unquote lore. So yes, I get my cat 3 eyes and 2 tails. It's for the lore, okay? I made a painting back in 2020. I sadly have no evidence because it's all been lost between moving. And I just stuck to it ever since because it's cute and she's cute. Anyways, on to page 7. This page was the biggest relief ever. It was the end. I finally had made it, and I was creating this one alongside the 6th page, so I was pretty much working on both at the same time just to get it done. So it got done pretty quickly on like page 5, which took me weeks. As you can see on this page, the spellbook has changed. See, this is what I was talking about earlier with the inconsistencies, so just get used to seeing those throughout the series. If I'll purposely keep inconsistency, hang on, wait a minute. I don't think I'll purposely keep inconsistencies in future comics, but this one will definitely have them. Moving on, I tried making it look like she was looking down onto the book, like to create kind of like a cliffhanger moment. I'm not sure if it worked. I feel like I did a good job, but I don't know. Anyways, that's pretty much most of my comic. If you want me to talk about my comic just in general, just let me know and I'll gladly make a video on it. Follow me on my socials. I'll probably link them down below, and if I don't, whoops. And don't forget to have a good day.